Hey y'all, and welcome back to part two of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the best parts of college with my sister for life, Sian McCollum. In part one, we focused on life prior to freshman year, like how we became friends, the freshman year experience, dating in college, and so much more. Specifically, like how I talked about, sophomore year was one of my worst years. Well, actually, no, sophomore year was my worst year, and it was in the top two for her. So, in part two of this episode, Sia's going to talk about her breakup and, how that affected her college experience. Then talk about how she found herself during senior year. And then we'll both talk about how we've adjusted to life during this pandemic. So, let's go. I don't know about you, but I think adulting is hard. Figuring out your love life, finances, friendships, professional life, health, and how to make a freaking doctor's appointment on your own can be so overwhelming sometimes. So, welcome to Graduated and Grown, a podcast that's focused on helping you and me overcome the struggles of adulting. Let's have some fun yet honest conversations about life once you're graduated and grown.
Okay, let's move on to junior year, the year that's a blur. What word would you use to describe junior year?
Emotional.
Okay.
What about
I
you?
think I would use the word, I should have looked up some pictures of junior. Junior year was different. That'll be
Okay.
my word. And you said the word emotional, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so why was junior year emotional for you? And then I kind of want to get into like you being an RA, but I'm not really sure if that's tied to you being an
hmm
RA. But yeah, so why was it emotional?
I'll transition to that a little bit. It was okay. So I feel like everyone kind of knows my life now. So by this time, me and my ex, we were still together. So it was distance, he graduated and was in Georgia, and I still had another 2 years of school. And so that was, different. That was interesting trying to, and I'd done it before going back to freshman year, but this time it was different because he was on campus with me the previous year. So what I knew at Oakwood was because of him and, that thing. So now it's like he's gone. I have to try to figure it out by myself. And, our friend group at this point kind of just dispersed. So it wasn't even like we had a group chat anymore. It was just more so, I had my two friends, and by that time we were all super busy in terms of,
That was
clubs
a
or
really busy year. Yeah.
yeah. And so it was just like I didn't really have anyone at that point. I mean, of course, you guys were still there, but in terms of like close circle, I was an RA, so I was in a different environment. So I feel like I didn't have anyone. My boyfriend was gone. My friends, weren't in my circle. I was in new positions, so it was just like it was a lot I had to work on by myself. And I was so used to having people in my intimate circle to like be with me during that time.
Yeah.
So that's why, it was emotional, just trying to work things out. And I feel like that was junior year was the time where I finally got to understand who I was. Because like I said, freshman year, sophomore year, I was, busy, you guys and clubs and organizations, I was busy all the time. So by this time it slowed down a little bit, but not really. It just changed gears. So that's why I was emotional.
I feel you. And I think that's so interesting. I guess I never thought about that. Literally, we were all kind of like plucked and like thrown on three different sides of like campus.
Yeah.
You were an RA. That literally took up 60% of your time. Plus social work. That's when you were the president of, the club.
Yeah.
Boyfriend's gone. Me, I was in the dorm almost by myself, but I was rooming with Ashley for part of it. Then she left, so then I was by myself. Then that was probably the most involved I was junior year, just being over different organizations. Maya was off campus junior year, right?
Right.
Yes. Off campus. So that's
no, she was away. She didn't move into her apartment senior year.
You're right.
And she's in there this year, just giving out all her business.
Right. Her address is 444.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Maya was involved with like a different group of people that year. She was, yeah.
Well,
And
she was
then,
basketball manager and, sports stuff. So that's where
so she was out of
still
town.
giving
Wow.
out her business.
Right. Same, Maya. And then Star, she was in the annex,
Yes.
and she spent a lot of time over there. She was also busy. And both
Right.
was that you guys had internships junior year too, right? Or was that senior year?
It was senior year, but we started having our internships that second semester.
Right. So that was just wow. That was a lot of
Yeah.
change in our lives. And looking back, I wish I would have seen your struggle more in the moment rather than 2 months, 3 months later, and done more to keep you in high spirits. So I
Yeah,
personally
but
will
you wouldn't have.
apologize for that.
Oh.
So
And I was
I'm
gonna say the
sorry.
same thing with sophomore year. Like I had no, honestly, because I was gonna say this before when we were talking about our sophomore year review. Like I had no idea. I mean, we talked about this last year when we did the
Right.
little video, but like I had no idea like you felt that way because in my mind, you had Jay, and that was you were with him not all the time, but like you were good. And this was just my perspective from transitioning from freshman year to sophomore year. It was just like you just felt like you were happy all the time, and you just made joy out of every situation. So like in the back of my head, I was just like, okay, we're sweet mates, but she's good. And not saying that intentionally I didn't check on you because I thought you were good. It was just I was so occupied that I thought you were occupied. So I'm like, okay, we got our boyfriends. We're both occupied. We must be good. We must be straight. So I also apologize that, we were just right across the room from each other. And, we didn't know. I feel like, and that's the thing with us growing. Like, we didn't really know how to, like, reach out and express ourselves. And even junior year, no one really knew what I was going through during that time. So, and I think now we're a little bit more expressive with reaching out and just checking on each other type thing.
I feel you 100%. And I know I am the person, I don't tell my business. I'll never forget though. Oh my God. I don't even know if I told you this. It was one day sophomore year. I was so sad. You and Star, I think we're at church or something. I told you this?
Well, in your other video that we did.
Oh, okay. And then I was crying or whatever. And I think you were like, hey, I'm pretty sure this was you. You're like, hey, do you want to come out to eat with me and my boyfriend? And I was so happy. I was like, yes, please. Like I was literally I literally still had a video to this day because I was just like, I just feel like, oh, I have no friends. I have no one to hang out with, blah, 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 blah.
And we went out?
Yes, we went to Red Robin. It was very good.
Wait. I think I remember. Wow. Aw.
Yeah.
That made me sad.
It's okay. I think
I'm glad I
definitely
reached out then.
Yes, it was literally perfect. But I think a big part of adulting definitely is checking in on your friends, especially with COVID going on.
Yeah.
I don't expect for us to text every day. That's just
right.
We both have different things going on, but it's so important to check up and be like, hey, how are you doing? How are you really doing?
Yeah.
Do you need anything from me? Do you want to talk? And I know I suck at phone calls, but I'm trying to do better. This is a phone call for us, making up for all the ones that didn't happen. But okay, this is we're on Ayanla Fix My Life.
I can't.
Ooh, okay. So junior year, what was the best thing that happened junior year? Let's cap that off with something good.
Best. Oh my gosh. Best.
It was horrible.
Okay. So one thing about, despite the fact, it being emotional, I did do a lot of workshops, or attended a lot of workshops, retreats, trainings, conferences, a lot, for both semesters. And that really allowed me to see my potential in being a leader. Because at first, I was doing all these things and doing all these leadership things, but didn't really know what I was doing. So junior year was really the prime year of oh, okay, getting skills and techniques and learning things, whether it was social work or our race stuff, or I went to New York for the conference. So it was I was able to explore a little bit about who I am and my potential in being a leader. So that was fun. I did enjoy that. That was a lot of fun junior year.
Yeah, you really did go on a lot of trips junior year. Wow. And I think I just remember one trip, my LA trip that I went on with our student government, but that was like the perfect way to just end junior year because like it allowed me like I was already cool with everyone that was on the trip, but like we all became like friends. Like I think that was the beginning of like me and Lexi's friendship. Like I think if we would
Yes,
have went on that trip, we probably would have become friends because we were at their house all the time. But we'll talk
all the
about that
time.
later. Um, but that was a really good time. Okay, so let's transition into senior year.
Did you want me to talk about being RA?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in senior year.
Oh, okay. Ooh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
fine. So, what's one word that you
That's
would
fun.
use to describe senior year?
Ah, um, wow. I would say, ooh, I'm just got flashbacks of everything. I would say it was a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to explain why you're gonna go?
Explain why.
Okay. Wow. It was wow. Roller coaster is a perfect word. So beginning of senior year, me and my ex we broke up. Right at the beginning, maybe like a week or a few days before, and I was fine. You know, I wasn't sad. I was to me it was just like a fresh the start of something new.
Wait, can I say something right quick? Let me tell you how
Go
she
ahead.
told me
I'm
and my
weak.
friend Maya. We're at our friend Maya's apartment eating spaghetti, watching a movie, I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
weak.
And then she's like, guys, guess what? We're like, what? She's like, yeah, it's over. And we're like, first of all, what? Like, we saw her like 3 weeks ago. We had no inkling that this was going to happen when we were in Chicago.
All right.
But yeah, that was just funny. But continue with your roller coaster.
That is fun. I do remember that. I remember just giggling and smiling. I'm like, they have
Yeah.
no idea. Um, y'all was just like, what? But yeah, so we broke up, and part of me was relieved. I was just like, it was time to end. And it was just a fresh start because, like I said, I've been in a relationship basically all of college, and I was just like, this is a new start for me. Even though senior year was looked at as the end of something, for me it was the
Mm-hmm.
start of something new. Come on, High School
High
Musical.
School Musical.
And I was happy. Not, I was happy. I was genuinely happy. Just kind of like go through college, being single. What does that look like? Not that I was excited to flirt or be with people. It's just like being by myself. What does single
Mm-hmm.
look like while I'm still in college? So that was like a roller coaster. And then my grandfather passed away, so that was a roller coaster. I became head RA all of a sudden. That was a roller coaster. My car broke down,
Oh,
and till I was out of a car from like maybe not September, maybe like October until like January, September to January. So that was a long time.
yeah.
Um, so it was just a lot of ups and downs and a lot of good times too. Like I said before at the beginning, like senior year was when I was able to go out, party, game night, socialize, be around other people that I didn't hang out with throughout those years of college. So definitely had a lot and got closer to a lot of other people that I wasn't close
Mm-hmm.
with before. So it was a lot of ups and downs. It was definitely a roller coaster. Even second semester, just coming in, I did have a car, and being head RA is just ups and downs, and Corona came, so
I
yeah.
agree with you. I think roller coaster, that's the word I use to describe my college experience, but specifically senior year, it was definitely a roller coaster. And I think I was literally able to agree with you a lot. Like that was kind of, I went out more. I started talking with more people, probably because I
Hmm.
knew, oh shoot, 9 months,
Yeah.
we're out.
Yes.
And
I was
I
like, this is
became
it.
close, right? And I became closer with a lot of different people that I was already cool with, but like,
Right.
we're friends now. So I really appreciate that. And I think even though, COVID came and like took our last like what 2.5 months away, it was still like a lot of fun, like packed into
Hmm.
those 6 months. So like
Yeah.
prior to senior year, or I guess just during senior year, what were you looking forward to like the most?
By this time, I had responsibilities, but it wasn't as packed. So I was looking forward to just being free.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was able to, go to parties and hang out late. And, because I was head RA, I didn't have a curfew. So it was just like,
Yeah.
be out. And I had a car for most of the time. So I was just able to just drive different places, explore Huntsville.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just really just being free. And what does that look like? It was just doing whatever, going with the flow. Senior
Mm-hmm.
year was definitely a go with the flow type thing. I didn't have like specific expectations, but like it was just
Mm-hmm.
I was happy just to breath of fresh air, really.
I think it was really fun, like to be on the outside and just like watch you. I sound like a mom, but like you said, like watch you be free, even though you weren't completely free because you
Mm-hmm.
were an RA, but like you had the car, you weren't in a relationship. It was just it was nice. I don't know.
Aw,
I'm not
you
gonna say like shackles were taken. It was just interesting. I feel like
low key
you
girl.
like blossom, and not saying you were like a closed flower before, but it was
No,
it was just different.
and you're not the first person that said that. I actually had a friend of a friend tell me like
Hmm.
they were asking questions about me and stuff. They're like, she looks happy. She looks like she's doing better. She looks like she's free. She's blocked. Like basically everything you said. I was just like,
Hmm.
wow. But I was those last 3 years was a lot for me. I was really
Hmm.
shackled down, and not in a bad way. It was just like I really didn't have much freedom.
Hmm.
So senior year was just like, whew, the chains have been lifted.
Yeah. So let's talk about like your RA experience. So you were, regular RA the first year, and then you were not senior RA, head RA senior year. And senior year is like when everybody like, that's when memories are made. So like, do you
Yeah.
feel like that kind of held you back from doing, everything that
Hmm.
you wanted to do senior year?
Yes and no. I think because of some circumstances that happened senior year, we had two deans, and some situations happened where they had to leave or go on maternity leave or
Hmm.
be gone for a few weeks. So that means I had to step up,
Hmm.
and it didn't bother me. I felt like I was ready. I was prepared for it. From junior year. But there were definitely times where I was like, dang, like, or even if I went off campus, I was on call 24/7. So if I went off campus, whether that was Saturday night and I was out or just like out to get food and I got a call, I had to come back to the dorm. I had to, address the conflict or the issue or be there.
Yeah.
Part of that was just like, dang, like I can't fully enjoy myself being out um,
Hmm.
without, the thought of I have a whole dorm to take care of when the deans weren't there. But a lot of that, it wasn't as bad because I did go out a lot senior year, and I had a great team. I had my friends that had my back. We'll cover each other. Update each other, let us know. And I feel like that was a huge part of my senior year, was just making sure I had a solid team. Because I knew,
Hmm.
like I told them, I was like, senior year, it means I'm not just gonna go out and be partying wild, but like I want to be able to spend that time with my friends. But I knew that I had a responsibility to the dorm, and
Yeah.
I loved being an RA. Like I don't regret being an RA at all because I definitely believe that helped me become who I am. Definitely helped with my social work skills, and just had
Oh
a lot of
yeah.
fun. Oh, definitely. It was a lot of fun, and I think I did a good job at balancing both.
Hmm.
Um, and like I said, I had a great team, so they were very supportive, and it was just all about communicating. It wasn't like I was just gone and I left.
Hmm.
I let them know. I said, hey, I'm going to a game night at my friend's house down the street. Keep an eye on the dorm. Something happens, let me know. And,
And
we
they
just
they would let her know.
they
They would let.
we had so many games. Hold on, guys, pause the music. Hello, what's up?
Yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Can I
Yup,
use
I'll
somebody's car?
look. Wow, that's right. So it was fun, and it really,
Hmm.
and because I felt like I was able to do that because I wasn't quote unquote shackled down to a lot of different responsibilities. So it was really just being an RA and then being a student senior year.
I feel
So
you, and I think like one thing a lot of people say, like that summer before you're starting senior year is don't really worry about your academics. I don't suggest that. I think you should still take school
oh,
seriously, but just not
definitely,
as seriously. Just make sure you
yeah,
maintain your grades. And
right,
then they say like have fun. Like this is the last time you'll be in this environment with all your friends. Like all your friends are within like a 5 to 10 minute drive or walk. And I think that is something, well, I don't want to touch on this too much, but that is something that I really miss about college. Just like
Yeah.
if I'm bored,
Oh,
hey, what are you guys doing? Or
yes.
hey, like, I don't have
Yeah.
that anymore. It sucks.
Yeah. No, I felt that 100%.
So let's talk about the worst part. I think it was what, March 17th or something, 11th, 12th, I don't know.
Yeah, that
When
week.
that Friday, when they told us, hey, this is the last day, you guys have a week to go
Yeah.
home. When you found out the news, how did you feel? What was your reaction?
So that was that Friday. I just came back from my internship. And I
Mm-hmm.
was at my internship and we were talking about, because I was working at the schools. So I was talking to my coworkers. I'm like, are they going to shut down the schools? What's going to happen? They're like, you know what? We don't know. But I left early on Friday, so at 12. So I came back to the dorm, and well, that week, everyone's kind of like talking about it, like what's going to happen? Is Oakland going to shut down? All these other schools are doing this, doing that. We just
Yeah.
didn't know. And that Friday, I got to the dorm and they sent out an email, whatever. And for those that don't know, Dean Anderson is very loud, very wild, lovable, fun.
Love
And you
her.
just hear on the intercom, you know, the school is shutting down, pack up your stuff, it's time to go home, Corona is taking over, it's time, she's just going in. And I'm just like, well, honestly, to be honest, wow, now that I'm thinking back on it, I didn't even really have time to process it, because it was it was crazy in the dorm. Girls were having panic attacks, girls were
Yeah.
excited, girls were running through the hallways, girls were breaking down crying. I had to help a girl who she was having a panic attack right when she was on the intercom. So it was a lot. I didn't even get a chance to process my emotions or what was happening. I was just focused on the girls. And they
Mm-hmm.
had questions, and I, being head RA, I had to I didn't have answers because this is just happening. So it was just a lot going on. And then it was Friday, so of course AY, and I'm in VOT, so they're like, we're singing, and we're like, oh, and then it's the last senior AY, so it was just a lot. People
Yeah.
texted me like, oh my gosh. So it didn't really hit me to after the fact, to wow, campus is quiet, I'm packing up my stuff, it's time to go. And
Mm-hmm.
during that time, between then and packing up, we just really lived life to the fullest, whether that was
Oh,
just hanging
yes.
out with your friends, going out to eat, um, just really saying bye to everyone. It was, oh, that was so sad. But it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sad in the moment. It was just you knew you had to live life every day between now and the time that you had to leave.
I think we literally packed in probably 2 months of fun. And I know we did completely different
Yeah,
things, but we packed in so much fun into those last 7 days
girl.
because we didn't know if we were going to have a graduation.
Oh,
We didn't know if we were going to be like, we literally didn't even know if we were going to come back to school. Like
right.
it was, and it's funny because we thought this was going to be something for like a couple months. Like we thought summer
Yeah,
was going to be normal. Now we're literally almost a year in
that's
to this whole
crazy.
quarantine, stay at home shutdown.
And it's I hate to say, but it's normal now. Who would have thought that last year this time, where we had questions, we can't leave the house. Some of us have to wear masks inside, so it's
Yeah.
it's so weird.
Something else that was really weird was our graduation experience. So, since we go to a small school, we were able to have a graduation ceremony. I think
Yeah.
I don't even remember how many students came, but that was interesting. We both decided
Mhm.
to go, and our families came as well. So, how was that experience of like having a social distance, wear a mask, and all of that for like the peak of your
Mhm.
college experience?
I think this was the first time being out with a group of people,
Yes.
and because other than that, we were just inside majority of the time, and I was in Georgia, so I didn't really have friends like that. So it was kind of nerve wracking. It was just okay, we know people are getting sick from this, but how, I don't know, it was a lot of questions I needed answers. I didn't know what to expect heading to graduation.
Yeah.
And it was weird, even arriving um at the Von Braun, everyone was just, when I entered the building, everyone was just kind of I don't even know the word to describe it. It was just very quiet and just weird. No one,
The
I mean, of
vibes
course,
were
no,
off.
it was really off. And of course, we couldn't be around each other, but it's just no one really knew how to act. And me, I'm excited to see my friends and everyone. So I'm just like, hey guys, and everyone's just like, hey, hi.
Hey.
I'm like, okay. And the graduation ceremony was very quick.
Yes.
It didn't feel like a graduation. It was just there. And we walked across the stage, took the picture. Not barely took the picture with Pollard. Like,
Right. That's my guy. I couldn't even get next to him for a picture.
right. It was just. I mean, I was proud, to see how far we came and we're here cheering my friends on. But part of my mind was just like, this is not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what made it weird, was just knowing in the back of your mind, we were supposed to be doing so much within that weekend, from Friday.
That week. No, from that Sunday to that Saturday.
No, honestly.
Week. I think I agree with you 100%. It was so weird. Vibes were off, and it's not like people were trying to act weird. It was just you didn't know how to respond, because you don't know. Some people are comfortable with you hugging, some people aren't. And then you don't want to hug somebody.
Early.
Yes,
it's May, so
we didn't know much about the virus at that time. And then you also had people whose grandparents were there. A lot of people were on edge because nobody wanted to spread it to their families.
Right.
So I'm definitely thankful that we had the experience, because a lot of my friends that went to other schools, they ain't had no graduation.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of schools are planning on doing it this year, but I don't know how these big schools like Michigan, Purdue, I don't know how the heck they're going to do it. But definitely grateful. It just kind of sucked how it went. But I think Oakwood did a really good job. I'm not trying to come for how they did it. It's just the circumstances.
Yeah. And I was kind of happy they did, just giving us the opportunity to say closure,
Yes, closure.
See everyone wearing the caps and gown, just seeing the faculty and administration up there. It was just this is the end of our Oakwood experience. And so I'm glad I went. I definitely, for those that missed it, I don't say, don't feel bad. Honestly, you didn't really miss much. It was okay. It was just okay.
I think it definitely did provide that closure though for me, being able to I was going to see you anyway, but just being able to see friends and classmates. It was okay, that I didn't really get to say goodbye to. I'll see you on my weekend. It was nice to do that, and also see teachers as well. I probably only saw 3 of my teachers, but I really wanted to go. My plan was the last week of school, I wanted to write thank you letters, send my thank you to my teachers, but couldn't do that. I sent an email. It's not the same.
It wasn't. It was a little emotional. I was just even for my department, it's just I love my class. I love in my department, social work, go social work. We've done so much in those 4 years, and to see them go up on the stage, and under the circumstance that we're in, I was just wow, we really did that. And even for you and all my other friends, I'm Lexi, being, president, I was just we did that. And so part of it was it was a good feeling just to be able to see you guys through freshman year throughout, just get your degree, and we're done.
Yeah, and it's also super exciting. I was actually thinking about this yesterday, how a lot of our peers are in this new phase of life. So you kind of have people that are all different levels, and you, of course, you shouldn't feel pressured to keep up with your other classmates. But it's so awesome seeing you and Star in grad school, seeing our bio people in med school, or people doing research, or people in their jobs, or even the people that are at home right now trying to figure it out. But they know what they want to do in 6 months from now. So that's been really cool. I think without COVID, it would be a completely, oh my
Definitely.
God, it would be so freaking different. You wouldn't be in tech right now. I guess the audience doesn't know where you're at in life right now. So we graduated in May. We had the ceremony in July, and then you started a new life journey in the very end of August. So where are you now, but what are you doing right now?
So I am a graduate student at University of Michigan, getting my master's in social work. I I was in Michigan first semester, and I did have some classes in person. I had my internship in person, which is why one of the reasons I went. I also wanted to go because I knew that if I stayed home that first semester, I would have had like this I'm supposed to be in grad school away from home,
Yeah.
and I didn't want. I know myself. I was like, I know I'm gonna be sad, and it just would have been a lot. So I was like, let me
Mm-hmm.
go to Michigan. It's just for the experience of it. I've never been to Michigan. I wanted to experience meeting new people. Well, I guess we'll get into that later, but I wanted to feel independent. I just
Mm-hmm.
graduated college. I wanted to be on my own. Um, so yeah, I was in Michigan for that first semester.
Do you feel like you were ready to go to grad school, or do you kind of wish you would have taken a gap year?
No, I felt like I was ready. Not growing up, but like once I declared my major as social work, they really just taught us so much, like the benefits of going to grad school after you get your bachelor's, excuse me. So like for some, it depends on what you want to do when you get to that stage of life. No one knew that when you graduated we were going to be in a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I was just so motivated to just get it out the way,
Yeah.
because I qualified as the 1 year program, so I'll be done in August. um, it was just like another thing. Like in the back of my mind, it was just looked at as, okay, when you're done with middle school, you go to high school. When you're done with high school, you go to college. So for me, it wasn't like oh, I got to go to grad school. It was just like, this is what I have to do to
Mm-hmm.
get
The
my,
next step.
yeah. And I was excited about it. To me, grad school was just like the beginning of my professional career.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we went through all these years of school, is to get to where, for me, I had to go through all of that to get to that point. So I was
Yeah.
excited to get to that point, just be done with gen eds and done with. I loved Oakwood, but just to be done with Oakwood.
Mm-hmm. You
Um,
have to give it up eventually.
yeah. And I was like, oh, finally.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're in grad school, I'm working. Two completely different experiences, especially with COVID going on.
Yeah.
So how now I can't even imagine this, but how was your experience being in a new city, a new college, a new apartment, a new state, everything? How
Yeah.
was all of that with COVID going on?
I was losing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
No, and that's the thing. Like prior to that semester, that summer. Well, one, that summer was just rough. The
Mm-hmm.
summer is supposed to be out with friends, summertime, traveling, being out and about, but we were
Yeah.
indoors. So like during that summer, I really had to pray and ask God. I was like, just prepare me for what's to come, because I had no idea. And I know myself, I'm very emotional. I know I love my friends, I love my family. And I knew that going to Michigan, new environment, etc., it would be different,
Mm-hmm.
different for me. So I really just prayed and like, just prepare me. So when I got there, you know, thank God, you were there in Michigan, and I had my other friend Leah, that I knew from birth, was there too. So I really was thankful that you guys were there in the midst of meeting new people and having a new environment. At least I had some people in my back pocket that I could rely on.
Yeah.
But it was stressful. It was definitely a major adjustment. This was me being on my own, like officially.
For real.
um I didn't it wasn't like Oakwood, where it's like you're around people of similar beliefs and lifestyles. It was just not being around people in general. So it was definitely a huge adjustment. I Going from like a huge transition from prior to Oakwood being an introvert, and then being at Oakwood and becoming a balanced extrovert, because I'm still an introvert, but I feel like I can become an extrovert when I need to. So just
Yeah.
being surrounded by your friends all the time and then going back into a space where you're by yourself was a huge adjustment. And just,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I was busy all 4 years. So then going from being busy and being around people all the time to being in my room every day
Yeah.
was like, it was depressing. And I was like, it was hard. And I definitely had to come out of my comfort zone in terms of meeting new people. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say meeting new people, like meeting, like literally, like picking a day and time, setting up where you're gonna go, and meeting them for the first time ever. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it was weird. And through that, I made some good friends
Mhm.
that I'm, still friends with now that I still check on. Um, so, despite the pandemic, it definitely taught me how to meet new people. Because I feel like at Oakwood, I didn't really have to meet. It was just kind of like they were there, and then
Yeah.
your relationship just developed over time.
Or like
So
you had a mutual friend. So it
yes,
was just, it was
yeah,
easy, low key. Like, I don't say it was easy to
easy,
make friends, but there was always
yeah.
some type of connection versus when you go to this new environment.
It was
It
all
could have
me.
been, yeah,
Like it was all
exactly.
me.
And even if like
But
somebody says, "Oh, I know this person," sometimes you'll click with a person, but
right,
sometimes you won't because there's so many different people in the world. And I literally hate the fact, like when you said, "Oh, like I'm applying to Michigan," and then you got in, I was so hyped, like, "Oh my gosh, she's gonna have the best time!" Like you're going to Michigan, Stars going to Ohio. Like when they have that football game, like we could all meet up. Like
yes, I was excited,
yes,
but
none of
yeah,
it. But I'm happy. Like I know, like it was probably more not painful, but like depressing than it was enjoyable. But I think like everything happens for a reason. I
yeah,
think when we're out of this season, you'll go back and you'll be like, oh, that's the restaurant my mom, took me, Ariane,
mhm,
and Leah to, So do
yeah.
you think? Oh, go ahead.
I felt like it was a period of growth,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that's why I don't regret going to Michigan because people are like, why'd you go to Michigan? Blah blah blah. I'm like, I knew I was gonna be sad, but I wanted to go. Not I wanted to be sad, but I wanted to go through that that period of growth because I knew that I needed that to
Yeah.
be where I am now or to be, where I would be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Because like
needed.
who knows? Maybe like 3 years from now, what if you have a job offer in Idaho? And I'm pretty sure
Oh,
you know nobody in Idaho. And you know what I mean? You may have to go through that season all over again,
yeah,
but since you were kind of prepared from it from your Michigan
yeah,
experience, maybe it'll be better.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you're staying home this semester. Do you think what inspired that decision?
One, I miss my family, I miss my friends. I just miss being I feel like I was like just really high up and I miss being like low to like I can reach you guys. Like I can drive to
Mm-hmm.
Huntsville. I can go home. And that and really everything was just online officially. Like my internship went online, classes were just all online. Um and I would have saved a lot of money just staying
Oh
home.
yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, it was needed. I'm not mad that I'm home. I'm actually grateful. I'm glad. Because I'm saving money, lots of money, because I do plan
Mm-hmm.
on moving out soon to get my own place. And I know, the money that Michigan's given me and I'm not at school, it's like, okay, let me take advantage of, the financial stuff that I have now because I know once I'm done with college or grad school, I'm not going to be able to have that like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, so in grad school, you graduate in August. I almost said May, August. Do you know what you want to do like after graduating from grad school?
Yes, yes or no. I think after grad school, I'll have my master's, and what I want to do is clinical social work. So to
Mm-hmm.
do that, I have to become a licensed clinical social worker. So that's really just working and getting your hours in, and
Mm-hmm.
depending on which state I want to live in, depends on the hours. But
Mm-hmm.
if I decide to live in Georgia, that's like two years of working to get the hours that I need, and then I take an exam. So after grad school is just really finding a full time job.
Mm-hmm.
I already have two part time jobs. So depending on what's happening when I'm done with school, I might stick with the job that I have now and just make that
Mm-hmm.
full time. But once I have my master's, I can literally work in any position. So it's just really seeing what my options
President of the
are.
United States.
Oh, but no, Biden got that. He good.
Keep that.
He can keep that one. So, it depends on what my options are.
Mm-hmm.
Probably working in school. Well, depending on what's happening, becoming a school social worker. My interest is working in behavioral and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing just where those interests lead me into a job and just kind of work, that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited. I really just want to get into the field of working with people and doing what I want to do, living where I
Mm-hmm.
want to live.
I can't wait. Even though like August is kind of far away, but I can't wait to see like what's in this like next season of your life.
Girl,
You know
me
what I mean? Because
too.
like I've been friends with you during like this college season, and I feel
That's
like you're still
right.
in this college season.
I
But like,
am
who is Sian gonna be like
outside of it.
outside of
And that's
it?
what I'm
Like,
so excited. Just for like for you, for everybody, like we're out of college. This is a whole different life
mm-hmm.
that we'll be able to explore, figure
Yeah.
out. And I think that's what it's all about. We're still young. It's like, whatever you're doing, whether you're in school or not in school, like we're figuring out life. And I think, we just got to make the best of that part.
I agree with you 100%. Okay, so this is my last question. Well, kind of last question before we go into the
Mm-hmm.
closing. So I feel like, especially at Oakwood, they always stress, oh, you're going to find lifelong friends in college.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's true? Did that happen for you?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. 100%. Like the friends that I have now, like my friends, or even just people I know, like I feel like our relationships will last. Like you and I, like you're not going nowhere. Like we're gonna be friends forever.
Period.
You're already planning my baby shower,
And
um,
bachelorette party.
and everything. Like for real. So it's like and my mom told me this, and she keeps bringing it up. She's like, "That's why I wanted you to go to Oakwood when you didn't want to, because I knew that you were gonna create lifelong friendships." And her friends that she known since freshman year are my aunts, and their
Mm-hmm.
kids are like basically my cousins. So it's I literally see that happening in front of my eyes with you guys. Like when we went on
Mm-hmm.
our girl trip or when we just keep in touch with each other, it's like you guys are really going to be there forever. And even like friends out of that I made in my department, or just friends that I've made in different areas at Oakwood, it's like even though we don't talk all the time, like if I know that if I need something, and that's like I love about Oakwood is like we're so diverse in different things. So if you need someone, a doctor, we can hit up one of our friends. Or if you need
Yep.
someone to sing at your wedding, you got them. If you need someone to play for
Plenty.
so it's like, and that's what I love about Oakwood. It's just you always have this community, and that's why I'm so excited to see like where we go in our career, in
Yeah.
our life.
I agree with you 100%. That was something my mom always told me. Like when you go to Oakwood, you'll what is the phrase? You'll always find someone from Oakwood or whatever it is. Like
Yeah,
all over the country, like there'll
literally.
always be some type of link. And apparently, it's true. I haven't experienced it just yet. Like being out. Well, during my summers in Chicago, I did actually meet a lot of Oakwood people. It was weird, but I agree with you. I think I definitely have made lifelong friendships in college, and I think like I knew it in college, but I think since graduating,
Yeah,
it's like the fact that I'm like still talking to you guys.
yeah,
Not saying I thought I was gonna cut you guys off,
right.
but it's I don't know. It's just showing me like we're still talking during a pandemic when
Yeah,
you got stuff going on, I got stuff going on, your aunties got stuff going on. So I think
yeah,
like, as time progresses, as long as we continue to like feed that friendship, I think it's just gonna continue to grow and
definitely.
blossom and be beautiful. So we're at the very end of the podcast, but I can't have you leave without you sharing some of your life knowledge.
Oh
So,
wow.
yes, the social worker. What advice do you have for other like young 20 somethings who are trying to navigate life right
I think not the first thing, but one of the things that I'm learning that I would just share with other people is just don't be afraid to focus on yourself.
now?
Um, and I think so. I was just having this conversation with another friend. Like, it's okay to be selfish with your time, your energy, your money, and we're young, and just really like taking the time to find out who you are. I know, like, just speaking from experience, like from high school and college, like I was in a relationship and I was really, or just involved in other things. I was so focused on giving my 100% to everything else. And although I don't regret it because it's definitely taught me, my self-worth and, how to balance and stuff.
Yeah.
I think now is the time, now that I'm in my 20s, it's like I need to regain that time back to myself and figure out what do I like, what don't I like, what makes me frustrated, what do I look for in a person, what are my standards. I feel like within your 20s, that's the best time to figure that out because, you might be done with school, you might still be in school, you might be traveling, you might be at home, whatever it is, that's the time to work on yourself because when we get older, other things are going to start changing and, things are going to be a little bit different depending on what's happening. And, you're not going to be as young anymore. You're not going to have
Yeah.
that your mindset's going to change, in certain ways. So definitely stay focused on yourself and don't be afraid to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to leave your comfort zone and try new things. And like I said, speaking from experience, like even going to Michigan was a huge, we didn't talk about this, but like Michigan wasn't even an option when applying to grad school. I was trying to go to a different school. And so when Michigan was an option, I was just like, that's way up there. I don't know anyone up there, too much money, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And because I went, I feel like I'm a better person. I've learned so much. I've made new friends. I've learned so much about myself. And that's kind of inspired me to like, don't be afraid to try new things. Because if I was hesitant to going to Michigan, excuse me, if I was hesitant to going to Michigan, I'll miss out on so many different opportunities in
Yeah.
terms of the jobs that I have now. And it really is just a full cycle. Like, I know we don't have much time, but it's a full cycle. But don't be afraid to grow and come out your comfort zone. And I think the last advice I would give is give yourself credit. We're
Mm-hmm.
in a pandemic. We've been through so many historical events in our lives.
Yes. In the last
So
12
much.
months, everything.
No, so much. And it's so hard, and we're in a place, we're young, so like we're still comparing ourselves to certain people, certain things. And sometimes we just need to pat ourselves on the back and like, we been through so much, we're doing our best, and sometimes you just got to give yourself credit. And I know for
Mm-hmm.
me, I can be hard on myself in terms of like, I need to be doing this, I need to be structured, I need to this needs to happen now. But like, I can't force myself, because I've even though we don't think about it, like we've been through a lot, whether that's affected you emotionally, mentally, physically. You got to give yourself that time to like relax and chill, and just give yourself the credit. you know
Mm-hmm.
our parents, we're going through stuff that our parents haven't been through, or our grandparents
Mm-hmm.
haven't been through. And sometimes we feel like we have to be strong, we have to keep fighting, but we got to give ourselves credit. And you did good, affirm yourself. So that's my
I
tip.
agree with that 100%. A lot of stuff that you mentioned was actually in this book that I read. It's called The Defining Decade. Is by, I think her name is Meg J. And I think I'm gonna do an episode
Mm-hmm.
about that because it was a really good book, but it talks about how like your 20s are literally like the most important years of your life. This is one when you find out who you are, you find out the things you like, the things you don't like. This is like your time
Yeah.
to explore things, figure out, who you are outside of relationship, who you are
Right.
in a relationship. And like
Yeah.
this is probably like the last couple of years that you'll have just like completely to yourself. But
Right.
after that,
I'm trying to get
maybe
married.
kids are right. Maybe
It's
a
like,
husband or wife is gonna be in the
mm-hmm.
picture, kids. You might want to go back and become Dr. Sian. Like,
Ooh,
hey, I'm calling it here. So
uh-uh.
yeah, I agree with everything that Sian said, and I really encourage you guys to like reflect. I feel like I haven't had a good like college reflection period in a minute, probably since
Mm,
like around like our original graduation. So I definitely encourage you guys to reflect, think about the lows, the highs, and just think about everything that you overcame throughout
yeah.
your college experience. Like college, had the good, the bad, the ugly, but it had a lot of amazing moments. And I think
Yeah.
both of us have definitely grown because of that experience.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, Sian, thank you so much for coming on the Graduated and Grown podcast. This was really, really good. I honestly was not expecting for us to talk this long,
Oh.
but it's okay. I think this is going to be a really, really good episode. And I wanted to say, if the listeners want to get in contact with you or just follow you on your
Yeah.
journey, how should they go about doing that?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram, unique with two E's at the end, underscore smile with two E's.
All right, guys, go follow her. Slide her DMs if you want. And
Single, I'm kidding. I am.
I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this episode, and we will talk with you guys next time.
Well, that's the end of today's episode of Graduated and Grown with my friend Sian McCollum. Again, if you want to follow Sian's Instagram, I'll have the details in the episode description. I appreciate each and every one of you for listening to today's episode. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, rate the podcast 5 stars, and follow our Instagram at Graduated and Grown. And until next time, Hasta la vista. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Graduated and Grown podcast. I appreciate you so much. If you haven't already, be sure to rate this podcast 5 stars and subscribe to the podcast so you can get a notification every single time a new episode is posted each week. Also, don't forget to follow our Instagram at Graduated and Grown so you can learn a little bit more about our guests, about our topics, get some resources, and provide some feedback and/or episode ideas for the podcast. All right, y'all, it was your host, Ariane, and I'll talk with you all next week.